Hello, everybody, and thank you for dropping into this edition of Walking the Ropes. I am Caleb.
And I'm Blake. We have a pretty cool show for you tonight, or today. We have Sacrifice, which was really, really good, and Raw, which was interesting. And we will be running down all the news and stuff from the last couple days as well.
Yes, but before we get into that, as usual, if you are new to Walking the Ropes or you've been watching for a while, you can find absolutely everything through our link tree, social medias, ways to support us, and absolutely every way to watch and listen to us. That is in our link tree, which is in our descriptions and bios, basically everywhere you find us. But yeah, it's been a while. It's been a few
Yeah,
days. I feel like I don't know how to do this anymore.
I know, right?
So, but yeah, as you said, we'll move in first off into any kind of news and whatnot. Um, as I talked to you prior to, it's been a busy week for me.
Mhm.
I have very minimal here. One thing, it was announced yesterday just before the premiere of AEW Dark Elevation. Legit Layla Hirsch, who has been featured on Dark a bunch, as well as a handful of times on Dynamite, was officially signed to a contract with AEW, which is great for her. um, and the only other thing I have in my notes, because like I said, it's been busy, is that I saw that there was a another COVID-19 outbreak at NXT.
I had heard that, and there's going to be quite a few pulled from this week's episode.
So that'll be interesting to see.
Hmm.
Um, I don't know if we talked about it on the last podcast. I think it had been posted by that point, an article talking about Vince McMahon being pissed off about nobody, or not nobody, but a bunch of the superstars not following protocols and that, especially due to the fact that they've had a lot of superstars outright say, like, if this shit keeps happening, same deal as this time last year, we're not
Yeah,
coming to work.
yeah, exactly.
And I mean, once again, I can't blame them one bit.
Nope, not even a little bit, because their health comes first.
Yeah, and I mean, when you're talking certain ones, I mean, Seth Rollins, newborn baby, you don't run that risk. That was the same reason, along with the health issues that Reigns didn't continue last year, shit like that. So I just, I don't know, when I saw that there was another outbreak, I was just like, how many times are we gonna go through this?
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know if, like, not to sound like an ass, but like I don't know if maybe they've got to start looking into, like, potentially how these people caught it, the ones who are bringing it in to start said outbreak. If it was just like a by chance I came into contact with somebody, or if it was an I was out doing shit I shouldn't have been doing. And you know I sound like an asshole here, but start finding them if that's the
Potentially.
case. I mean, you can't find somebody for going to the grocery store and accidentally passing by somebody with it, but I mean,
Exactly.
similar to Deanna Perrazzo and Steve Cutler earlier this year, Steve Cutler being released in that. I mean, something like that. Very blatantly, we went to a New Year's party, blah blah blah. We've already had this discussion, but that's a scenario where, I mean, he got fired, but maybe
Yeah.
you just need to start being like here's a $5,000 fine or some shit. I know that sounds steep, but I mean, we're talking WWE. They're
But
fighting how much for like slaps. So
who even knows anymore? Like,
like oh
we'll talk about what happens with the leg slaps and what moves don't look amazing anymore.
yeah, but anyways, what you got for news there, man?
So what we'll talk about it more on the Raw recap here, but
Mhm.
there were quite a few matches, or a few matches announced for Mania.
Yeah.
One being Drew versus Lashley, and the other being AJ and Amos versus the New Day. Sounds very interesting, right? Yeah, we're gonna talk about them on Raw. Just
Mm-hmm.
just stay tuned for those ones, because
Yeah. Yeah.
okay. So the Hall of Fame ceremony was reportedly going to be taped, but that's not how it's actually going to be. It's going to be live, and they are planning to have as many of the inductees as they possibly can on the stage. The only one that I could think of that probably will not be there is Batista, as he is in Australia. Uh,
Liger is my other.
okay.
I mean, the thing is, once again, we've still got time. They can fly him in and whatnot. It's just a
Mhm.
matter of whether or not Liger wants to make that trek.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, they want as many of them as possible and as many guests and invitees, whatever they want to call them, as possible. Like
Yeah.
personnel, just anybody to make it look and feel like the original one.
Yeah, and
Although I
that's
wouldn't
supposed to
mind
be
it.
in the Thunderdome, right?
I believe so,
Okay.
yes. I wouldn't mind them doing it similar to a dinner theater thing where everybody's kind of got their own
So
tables.
back to the original way of doing the Hall of Fame, similar to how they used to
Yeah,
do the Slammy Awards when the Slammies actually felt important and special,
exactly. Just
which
make it, yeah.
if
I think
if
that'd
you've
be okay.
never seen the original, I mean the Hall of Fames are good, obviously. But if you go back and watch, like, I think it's the 96 Slammies. They have a fucking musical opening number and shit. It's
Yeah.
fantastic, just like, kind of poking fun at all the boys and girls and whatnot and shit like that.
Yeah. It's a night
Um
for everybody to have fun.
yeah, like, it was awesome. Like, it was, like you said, it was a dinner party. It felt like real awards for the wrestlers.
Yeah,
I'd have no problem if they did that for the Hall of Fame.
exactly.
Especially because I don't know how I feel about them piping sound into the Hall. Well, okay, you're going to
I didn't even
laugh.
think of that. I didn't even think of that.
They're gonna be piping sound into the Hall of Fame ceremony. I'm sorry, I'm not. Like, the thing is, I mean, we've had fans at the Hall of Fame ceremony for quite a while now, and I've always been kind of iffy about the fans at the Hall of Fame ceremony. I've never overly enjoyed it because I feel
Yeah, the
like,
Heart Foundations was almost entirely ruined.
yeah, but I feel like sometimes, and I sound like an asshole. I mean, fans hijack stuff, and sometimes they kind of hijack. Like, sure, a lot of the time it's like, you deserve it, thank you, stuff like that. But I'm like, at a Hall of Fame ceremony, I kind of want to sit there. I kind of want to honor the guys, stuff like that. And
Yeah,
sometimes having the fans there makes it hard. So now to think that they're going to be piping in fucking audio, I'm like, ew.
well, that's just it. Like the thing for the fans with the inductees was the announcement. Like they would usually announce it on Raw or SmackDown, and the fans would be able to chant the "You deserve it" and whatever they wanted at that moment.
Yeah.
And that was where it was supposed to celebrate the person. And then it just kind of developed into all of a sudden the fans were there watching, and now
And
they
at
were,
first it wasn't bad. Like, if I'm thinking back to,
yeah,
like, say, Flair's induction, there was like a few thousand fans there, but it was nothing compared to the 2019, where it was fucking the floor. It was the floor that was superstars. And
yeah,
actually, I want to say it was even less superstars on the floor at that year than
hmm,
normal, because normally for that Hall of Fame, when they're on the stage, you've got the whole floor section, almost, maybe
yeah,
just the back outcropping, but almost the whole floor section as superstars, legends, their families, stuff like that. And then
yeah,
you've got the fans, which it's still a lot of fans. But I mean, 2019, I mean, they had them come down to the ring and all that stuff. And so, like, you had probably half, if not less than normal population on the floor,
yeah,
and then all the fans around. And I mean, we saw how that worked out. Um,
yeah.
but
I will say I enjoyed the ring giving the legends one last walk to the ring.
So I thought that was a really neat thing. When I saw that, I really liked it.
Mhm.
I just, oh, I don't know.
So if they wanted to continue doing that moving forward, make the ring the centerpiece, and just do it like a dinner theater and have the guests and everything around and sell a couple tickets to fans if you want to, but make it only 100 fans can buy tickets to this thing.
You know what would have made it better, now that I'm thinking about it? Swapping hard cam to face the stage, because I really hated the backdrop of, I sound like a dick here. I hated the backdrop of the fans. I really did.
That's fair.
I was like, it's too much, shit like that. I'm like, if they would have just swapped the hard cam for that night, took the ropes off that side, I would have loved it so much more,
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
it would have just felt so much better. If they want to keep doing the whole ring gimmick, which I'm okay with. Like I said, I
Yeah,
liked it, but I don't know.
yeah. Uh,
Anyways,
Continuing on from there, I believe we did talk about this on our last cast, but the Thunderdome is going to be reportedly moving to the Young Ling Center
yep,
at USF, which is actually Omos's former school. He played basketball
really.
there.
Oh,
Yeah,
neat. Yeah,
not
so
surprising
staying.
he played basketball.
No, not one bit. I mean, I think I just looked. He's like 7'4" or
Yeah,
something like that. I'm
they just
like,
passed
dude
him the
can
ball
just
and he just went,
reach and be like, why wouldn't you play basketball at 7'4" coming
yeah,
from my
exactly.
5'10" ass? Uh,
Yeah,
but yeah, so staying in Tampa, which is nice, not a long trek for them there.
no.
Um, I'm still intrigued to know how much longer they're gonna be running the Thunderdome. That is my
This is
big thing.
reported. The Thunderdome itself. Okay, yeah. We're gonna start introducing fans back after Mania, so maybe this new one will have like a limited capacity fan section too.
So, from my knowledge, from what I originally read, when I saw this article, probably about a week ago, I know there's been more on it since. But the main thing, one of the big reasons why they were moving there was because I believe they did not have any restrictions in place.
Okay.
Where similar to like where the Thunderdome's been before, we're talking Tropicana and then American Airlines Center, I think it was.
Amway.
Amway, thank you. I don't know, too many A's. Uh,
Yeah.
they both had restrictions, straight up saying no fans in attendance, anything like that. Where
Yeah.
this new arena that they're looking at, like I said, from my knowledge, they don't have any restrictions in place. Um,
Yeah. The one
so
main thing I saw is that its capacity is about 10,000. So the Thunderdome scale is going to come way down.
which is fine to me. It
Mhm. No,
it
I
was
wasn't complaining, but just for anybody who hasn't envisioned what would be happening there.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Like it was cool at first. It was this big awesome thing.
It was just like the NBA. It was really neat at the time, but the NBA is not doing that anymore.
Yeah, it's kind of lost its
As far as
touch
I
for
know, they're
me.
not. I shouldn't speak like I know that for a fact, but
But the thing is I'm sure they can find a way to safely transition fans in, keeping part of the Thunderdome. Like the thing is, look at NXT. NXT has found a way to do it.
it's
Um,
really nice. And
it's nice.
I mean, their obvious reasoning is because they compete with AEW, which has live, which
Yeah,
is
yeah.
just an amazing thing because they're in a, what do they call it? An amphitheater? That's their ability to be able
Yes.
to have the fans,
Open
which
air amphitheater. Yep.
is awesome. So it's unfortunate, but they've found a way to be able to do it.
Yeah. Now, granted, NXT, it is usually just invited people in that. It's not like you're buying tickets to it,
No,
stuff like that.
I'd love to be invited.
But it's it. I'm like I said, I'm sure there's a way.
Definitely.
Don't put them ringside. Be very careful about it. Keep the Thunderdome on the lower scale and maybe put the fans higher up. Just
Or if they want to do it the NXT way and put the shields up around and whatever, fine.
yeah.
But figure out a way for it.
Yeah. Like I said, the only reason I think they're allowing the ones so close for NXT though is because I believe they've got to
Yeah,
go through all the tests and everything as well before even
more than
entering the
likely.
Capitol Wrestling Center. So, um,
That's
but regardless, what else? What else there, my guy?
the last one here is Charlotte lands a leading role in the reboot of Walking Tall TV show slash movie, whatever it's going to be on TV, but it's a movie. So
Yeah.
it's
Well,
a reboot of the TV show, not the movie that Dwayne Johnson stars in, from what I've been able to tell.
fair enough. I'll be honest. I don't know if I've ever even heard of it. Even
Oh,
the
yeah,
Dwayne
that's
Johnson
fair.
reboot. When I
The
saw the
movie
name
is
of it, I
quite
was
good. They
like,
might not even be related. So,
okay. Uh,
so
well, I know I saw it and I was like, I'm not sure what this is. And then I saw something about Dwayne Johnson and I was like, okay, I really don't know what this is. So,
yeah. the it's an interesting, so she's going to play this cop who's caught up in fraud, exploitation, and murder, which, that all sounds like fun and
sure,
good time. So
best
i
time.
i mean, I don't want to say she's going to do bad or good in this. I look forward to seeing it. I just am not a fan of her promos, so I'm not sure how
Her
her acting
acting
skills will
ability.
be. Like,
Yeah, I
I'm
feel
not
that.
saying anything. I'm not going to hold judgment until I see it, but just based on her work, I'm not a
Yeah.
fan.
Yeah, I can agree with that one. But yeah, so you said that was your final news point?
That is indeed.
Awesome. We are going to move on to results and stuff then. We are on a bit of a time crunch today, sadly, due to my ass. But we'll start off here with Saturday night's Impact Plus special Sacrifice, which as we said was a decent show.
It was a really good show, yeah.
Um so Now this opening match real quick. I sent a thing to you, I think it was yesterday, where I rolled my eyes. The opening match was Decay being Crazy Steve and Black Taurus, with Rosemary at ringside against Reno Scum. And now it was a decent match. We'll
It
talk about it in
was.
just a second. But they announced yesterday that for before the Impact, that we were going to have, was it Tarus against
I
Luster?
Is it Luster with the mohawk?
Yes.
Okay. I was calling him Thornstowe through the whole time then.
Yes, Luster the Legend is the one with the mohawk, I believe.
Okay.
I
Your
believe.
guess is as good as mine.
I don't know. I still don't know these guys.
They've only ever announced them as Reno Scum, so we will finally know when if one of us watches BTI.
Well,
So
they announced them by their names during their
yeah, but they're
entrance,
coming to the thing
but
at the same
oh,
time. So
I'm aware. I try to listen for Stryker and D'Lo to be like this guy, and at one point they said Adam when the guy was in the ring. They were talking about him, and I just assumed so the guy in the ring was this at what did you say the last name was?
Thornstowe, from what I can remember.
Sure. And so I just assumed the guy with the mohawk is Luster. He makes me feel like he's a Luster.
But I don't know. The last name to me made me think the guy with the mohawk. So I don't know.
Luster the Legend. I'm still
Yeah.
here.
I guess, yeah, we'll take the moment since we're talking about it to
We'll,
figure
we'll
it out.
take the moment. He does in fact have a mohawk. Luster the Legend.
Is it Scum with two M's or just, yeah, so it's one M.
1M with Adam Thornstowe. Yes. Okay.
Okay.
Um sure. Why
And then
not? Anyways, back on to the results. Now that we know who the fuck we're talking about.
There's apparently former members to this team.
No. No. I no, I don't want to know. I don't want to know. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, Decay versus Reno Scum. Decent way to open up the show. I mean, we
Yeah.
found out on our last podcast this wasn't a pay-per-view, which was neat to finally get the clarification, I guess,
So
on
does
it.
that mean we Malteser scale it, or
I have mine.
I do too? So I mean, if we
So
want to,
yes,
we
we
can.
will. I just it's nice knowing it's not a pay-per-view.
Yeah, exactly.
um but yeah, overall it was a fairly decent match. Um I don't have much of anything to note directly from it unless you do.
No, I mean, fairly standard. The suplex that Black Taurus hits to finish his moves is really nice. Does it really well.
Yeah. Um but Decay picks up the win. Um Now with us running this a little differently than normal, you just want to give your Malteser after every match.
Might as well, yeah.
Okay, so obviously on a scale of 1 to 5, our Malteser scale match rating system there, what did you give Decay versus Reno Scum?
I gave it a 2.5 because I enjoyed it more than I thought I would.
I gave it a 2.5 as well because I was like, it wasn't a bad match. Wasn't, it wasn't going to be the best match on the card.
It was a
But
good way to open a show.
yeah, but I was like, this is actually a decent match. It felt like, I've said it in the past, it felt like something that could have opened Impact, and I wouldn't have cared about.
Very
But
fair.
they gave it a good effort, and I
Yeah.
enjoyed the match. Um,
Yeah, they made it feel good, which is awesome.
and then kind of coming in my opinion to the other side of the spectrum, we have Tennille Dashwood and Caleb with a K versus Havoc and Nevaeh.
Your
Um,
favorite team, right? Because you share a name with them.
no, I don't understand why we are burying Havoc and Nevaeh. And I know I come across, there's a lot of people who are like they lose one match and suddenly they're getting buried. But I'm sorry. I'm sorry. They
One
had this
match?
that oh no, that's not my point. I'm just saying people are so quick to judge and be like, they lose 1, 2, 3 matches. But I'm sorry. I'm sorry. They are 100% just getting buried, and I don't know
I
why.
I don't think Havoc or Nevaeh have picked up a victory since they lost in the finals to Fire and Flava.
Yeah. Now, and the worst part is this match, when this match finishes later on in the night, they completely end this storyline too.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so at least the feud, I should say. Um,
I feel like we're gonna get the split of Havoc and Nevaeh, and I don't want that because they're probably the only really good tag team that's gonna we can confirm that would be a good tag team for a long time. Obviously, Jazz and Jordan are amazing, but they're not gonna be a long tag team.
no, and I look at this the same way as why would you do this like they did with the Iconics in WWE? Like why? What's the
Well, I mean, at
point?
least they're putting a bit of story into this one.
Yes, but it's unnecessary.
At least they didn't just go, "Hey, you two are a tag team, right?" Yeah, not anymore.
Bruce Pritchard had one too many cups of coffee that day. Um, but we have Tennille Dashwood and Caleb with a K picking up the win. Um,
Which I don't even know what we were supposed to make of that finish because the ref saw the push, but then gets distracted by Havoc.
oh come on, man. Yeah, it happens.
Like,
I don't know. I have no words.
Yeah, it was just weird. It was
What
just
what what
weird.
did you give it? What did you give it?
I gave it a 2.
I did as well.
Like, I wasn't gonna be mean to it because overall it wasn't a horrible
Like the
match.
match was okay.
I just didn't know what to think of it. So I was like, I mean, overall, you did good. Like,
You did good, kid. You did good.
yeah, exactly. Nobody fucked up in the match is basically what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. But moving on, we have a backstage segment. Rich Swann and I believe it was Eddie Edwards, correct?
Yep.
Okay, because I wrote
No, it was
Eddie
Eddie
Edwards.
Kingston.
Oh, thanks. I wrote Eddie Edwards, but I was half-assed distracted during this segment, so
Oh, actually thinking about it, I now want it to be Eddie Kingston that pumps up Rich Swann. Because that promo, wow.
I mean, I love Kingston, so we get
Yeah.
that. Do you have anything of note on that promo or no?
No, no. I mean, and I don't really have anything of note on the next one either.
Oh, okay. Uh,
It was good promo. I mean, just sets up for the next match.
oh, there was a promo going into this match.
I saw one.
Are you sure it wasn't just the one from Impact?
Well, I mean, I watched one while I was watching Sacrifice, so I mean, maybe they reran the one from Impact, but
I
I
know in the
saw
video
one.
package leading up to the match they reran the promos. I
That's what I
think.
mean. That's what I mean by the like the video package promo, whatever you want to call it. I usually call the video package for matches a promo for the match.
Okay. Okay. So now that we've got that cleared up, because I was lost there for a second,
That's fair.
we move into Violent by Design's Diener and Joe Doring with Eric Young at ringside against James Storm and Chris Sabin with Jake Something at ringside. Um,
Why did when you said James Storm did that sound weird?
because I said his name first. I don't know.
No, like I just for whatever reason that name didn't sound like the right name to say, but it is. Like
It sounded wrong when I was saying it too, but I'm like, it's fucking James Storm. Like I've been watching James Storm
oh,
for a
you know what
lot of
it's been?
years.
It's because we've been talking about Tony Storm so much that just the first name we changed it. We're like, no, that's not who we're talking about.
Hey, y'all need different names. It's gonna
What
be
you're
like
talking about
Ethan,
Christian Cage and
Christian Cage, and Brian Cage against Ethan Page and Adam Page in a Page on a cage match.
isn't there's more even in WWE I feel like there's pages. Well, there's Page and then there's
uh, oh no! Oh no no! Moving on. This match was good. I haven't had a bad thing to say about a Violent by Design match yet.
No, and I mean I haven't had a really bad thing to say about the Stormer Sabin matches either.
Oh, jeez, I am tired. My apologies.
It's
Yeah,
all right.
no. I mean these. I was gonna say four guys, but I mean all six of them. Did a fantastic job. At one point, we have the ref getting knocked out. The brawl kind of ensues. Then we have something interesting.
Something I didn't see coming in. It wasn't Jake something.
Yeah, we had Rhino come out, and he looks like he's there to, help the baby faces. He hits the ropes and spears right through Chris Sabin.
I
And
thought I had his return pegged as for whenever Heath was coming back, he was just gonna come back then.
well, potentially because Heath is going to be out for longer than expected. Maybe they were just like, yeah, let's not wait.
But I mean, does Rhino need to be inserted in this storyline?
He was already involved in this storyline, though.
By being murdered!
Exactly. They hurt him, and then they just did to him what they did to Diener.
Just in private.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Okay.
They
I'm not
they they
mad. I was
they
just really
combed his hair and
confused.
told him he was a good boy, and he was just like, "I'm a good boy," and he joined Violent by Design.
You're only going to understand this, but there's one person I thought of this, and they're from school.
Oh fuck! Enough
I
said.
don't I don't want to say the name of
No,
them,
enough
but
enough said for now. We'll talk after the pod. Um. Anyways, so obviously, if you couldn't tell by Rhino's interference, by Design picks up the win. What did you give the match?
um I gave it a 3 because it was a really solid match.
I gave it a 3 as well. We are very, very solid on
Yeah, tonight has been or yeah, tonight because we're talking about Saturday.
yep, yeah. I can only assume the next match is probably where we start to split off, but we'll see. But we have a backstage interview with Brian Myers, basically just being like, "Yeah, I'm the best."
But Miro is the best.
Best man.
That's Miro's next feud.
Oh God. Oh,
It won't take long.
one fucking kick and Myers is gonna be dead.
And
Get a
then the
hold.
accolade. I mean the
The
sorry.
game over. Yeah,
Yeah, just
yeah. And
because
by the way,
JR messed that up the first time.
talking about Miro real quick, I have no harm saying this. Fuck Jim Cornette. 100%. Nobody has seen what's been going on there. Fuck Jim Cornette. If you stand on Jim Cornette's side, you can fuck
So
off.
say, and the people who defended him and then got immediately put on blast by Penelope Ford.
Yeah.
Fuck you too.
Yeah. Just I've got the more and more I see about that man, the more and more I'm like, just leave the wrestling business alone. Nobody wants you here.
Yeah, you've passed your prime, and even when your prime was there, you weren't even really wanted.
Yeah. So I figured we mentioned Miro. Might as well make that point.
Yeah, no, that's very fair.
So moving on, we get Brian Myers versus Eddie Edwards in a holds harmless match. That's what it's called. Good job, Caleb. Um, it went very much kind of how I started to expect it to go as it was going. I'm like waiting for Hernandez and Matt Cardona to get involved.
All of a
And
sudden, I looked up, like I was typing something, and all of a sudden, there's Hernandez, and I was
like I said, I was watching it, but I was busy. I've been fucking ridiculously busy. And so I'm watching it, and I like turn away to do something, and I turn back, and I'm like, oh, fucking Hernandez is there. Sure.
okay, so he did just kind of pop into existence then.
Yeah, Thanos fucking snapped or some shit, and
Yeah.
uh, I don't know. It was interesting. You have
But
any?
Cardona makes the save there, which is nice, and then that just kind of stops.
Okay, so I wasn't the only one who just kind of saw him for a minute, and then they were both gone.
Well, I think what had happened was Cardona just started beating Hernandez like into the back, and I'm like, so does that mean until Impact Wrestling this week? So tonight, there are supposed to be a fighting since Saturday.
That'll probably be the story they try to go with. Yeah, this like I said, this match like I was watching, they'd go for a high spot. I was like, cool. Like I got a second as they're selling. I'd turn, I'd do something, I'd come back. They'd be setting up for their next spot. And yeah, I just so happened to turn away both when Hernandez popped into existence and then when they popped out of existence.
The only reason I'm assuming they were beating each other to the back is because Stryker goes, and Cardona's dealt with Hernandez. And I was like, all right, and Cardona's dealt with Hernandez.
Easiest way to do it, sure. Um There was a few cool spots during this. One that I liked was Myers climbing under the ring and then pulling Edwards
Yes.
into the side of the ring apron. I thought that was a very, very clean way of doing that, as well as them going through the table on the outside was like a big like holy shit moment for me.
Yeah.
Um so like the match was good. I'm not saying it wasn't. Eddie Edwards picks up the win. Um
With a loaded Boston knee party.
yep. Yeah, I love that name.
I do too.
I do. What
It's
did
like
you
the Stun Dog Millionaire. I like
Yes.
that name.
Yes. What did you rate this match out of 5?
I gave it a 2.75.
So did I.
Yeah, see, that's
So
why I was like,
so we're exactly even still here. Um
because it's a good match, but it was exactly what we thought it would be. It to a
exactly.
T. Like, as much as I didn't wanna think they would be doing Myers Cardona into to,
Rebellion.
Rebellion, I knew that's kinda what they were doing.
Well, yeah, I mean they've got Cardona. What are they gonna build up to? It just seems like the obvious route, I want to say.
Yeah, for sure,
Um,
exactly.
but and my other issue with it was we built it up, holds harmless, all this stuff. Scott's promo on Tuesday, and then even Striker and D'Lo being like, holds harmless. It's basically like unsanctioned, like lights out stuff like that. And then there wasn't really much to it. Not saying every lights out unsanctioned match has to be this big, crazy, almost killing each other fest. I mean, we look at lights out unsanctioned over the past little bit. We've got Mox and Omega and Janela. I think Darby and somebody at one point. Like you've just got crazy shit, and I mean, I'm really looking forward to Britt Baker and Thunder Rosa. Uh, Tomorrow night,
In
um,
the main event.
which is totally deserving. But
Oh, yeah, no, I wasn't saying it wasn't, I was just saying for people who didn't know.
no. I wasn't saying you weren't. I was making the comment of it was deserving. So like I mean I know that we shouldn't expect that, but I mean you're also talking Eddie Edwards, who is supposed to have been on this mean streak. We've seen him in crazy ass
He
matches.
snapped against Myers and then wasn't really that aggressive. Like I mean, there weren't holds and stuff as per se a wrestling match, but as far as the spots, we had the table spot, we had a kendo stick, and I think we had a trash can lid and a cookie sheet. Oh, suplex onto no, that was a different match, wasn't it? No, has to be this match.
What?
Superplex onto a pile of chairs. That was in this match.
That was this match. That was a
Yeah.
cool spot as well.
That was a really neat spot. But
But
besides those few spots, there wasn't really any aggression. And I mean, obviously, me saying a superplex onto a pile of chairs to anybody who doesn't watch wrestling, that sounds insane. But in
but
wrestling, we've seen superplexes into barbed wire
spider
trampolines.
yeah, spider webs and shit like that. Um but moving on, we have the Knockouts tag team title match, Fire and Flava, the reigning champs, against Jordan Grace and Jazz. Um our prediction here, uh I think we predicted Fire and Flava, right?
Yeah, because there was no like as much as we think they shouldn't be the knockouts champions, they're gonna be.
Oh, I had done a jokey prediction going all back assward saying Havoc and Nevaeh were gonna come back through, but I think at the end I had stated Fire and Flava obviously were taking the win.
Yeah.
It was decent. It was kind of obvious. Fire and Flava, like I said, retain. Do you have any notes from this match that you want to go over? Like I said, it was a match. It was there. It was okay. Nothing really stood out that I was like, I gotta make sure I mention this.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah. What did you give it out of 5?
A 2.25.
Okay, so this is where we finally break apart. I gave it a 2.5. I gave it a 50% per se. Um, just comparing it to uh the earlier match with Decay and Reno Scum, I was like, you're pretty well on par. You kind of did what was needed,
I
got the
just
match where it needed to be, and finished.
the one thing that it just kind of fell a little short for me in terms of where does Fire and Flava move on to.
Well,
So that's where I'm just kind of like,
th-
mm.
that was gonna happen anyway. The match ended unless it ended with new champs.
But not even that. I was
So
thinking Fire and Flava, like maybe they win via screwy finish or something, so that way there's at least some kind of story. But no,
Impact, did you hire Bruce Pritchard?
for that match alone,
Yeah, yeah.
because the
Um,
rest of the show you booked.
yeah, exactly. Exactly. We have Moose backstage getting interviewed about the world title match. Um,
Yeah, and he just says, "Just watch the match," basically, and
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I agree. And then we have Ace Austin with Madman Fulton at ringside against TJP for the X Division Championship. And kudos to you guys. First off, I admit my prediction was wrong.
Me too.
Um awesome to see. Match was great. Ace Austin winning the title was a really neat thing.
And a great match too.
These X Division guys just fucking kill it, man.
It's consistent with the X division of old. They are able to steal the show.
Well,
Obviously, this match was difficult to steal the main event, but still
but
a
but
really good match.
there was a comment made on commentary during this match from, I think it was Striker, talking um about the original X Division building this style of wrestling. And they listed off a bunch of the original X Division guys that, I mean, I grew up watching and whatnot, and they made a very good point about, like, this style is, you've got a lot of different styles in pro wrestling, but the X Division style is really something of its own. Not saying nobody else does it, but it's very consistent in impact in the X Division.
Yeah. The thing is, like, it's not cruiserweights. It's
It's
like
not cruiserweights, it's not high flyers, it's
we've had champions like Brian Cage and Samoa Joe, like, versus people like Amazing Red and um
Ace Austin.
Well, yeah, Ace Austin's a little guy too, but I was trying to think of small guys. But yeah,
Well, Ace Austin is a small dude.
I was more thinking along the lines of like Eric Young's debut type esque small.
He was fucking tiny. Um, but yeah, like, it's just a style of its own that all these guys have kind of, they've molded into something really awesome where you've got, it's a little bit of absolutely everything and
Yeah.
never too much of one thing.
Well, it takes lucha libre, it takes New Japan strong style, it takes British strong style, it
Chain
takes
wrestling, submission
yeah,
wrestling,
it
uh
does it all.
like, it's just really, it's almost as if all these X Division guys have always worked together and whatnot. Like, I
Yeah,
don't know, it's
or
just something about it.
they give them like months to prepare for these matches or something.
Yeah,
Like,
I'd like to know who is producing the X Division matches, because it'd be interesting to know. Because, I mean, the thing is, I wouldn't be surprised if it was somebody like Davari, because Davari is an old school X Division guy. So you've got to wonder how these new guys keep up this same X Division style from 10 years ago. And it's got to be something to that extent.
yeah, they've kept somebody on their payroll through the years. Not saying Davari was always on their payroll, but somebody who has been in that time where that old style X division was fantastic and forced the guys in the X division to work that way.
Yeah, exactly. But it
Obviously allowing them to add their own new style too.
yep. Oh yeah, like it's always evolving, which is great too. But what did you give this match out of 5?
A 3.5.
Same.
Yeah.
It
Because
was good.
I would have given it more, but I knew the main event was more than likely going to blow the roof off the place.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
S
like it was the best match up to that point. Like without a
Absolutely, it
doubt.
was. But I knew if I gave it a 4, I would have to give the main event, like, a 4.5 to even be comparable, just knowing what the main event was gonna be.
Yeah, like I was gonna have to crunch and squeeze numbers to make something work without, cause like we'll get to the main event in a second, but it's like I knew the main event was gonna be great. I didn't expect to give it a 5 or something, and so I was like I
No,
have to even everything out to not blow the scale out of proportion. So I mean a 3.5 is very decent.
it
Um,
is. It really is.
we up next have the Swingers Palace. Remember how I was praising this segment about 2 weeks ago?
It's
Yeah.
Falaba, he's not there.
Or Storm and Saban. But
Yeah.
we have Caleb with a K and Tennille
And you
come
say
in.
first as if we've been watching this from the beginning.
Yeah. Um but they come in, make a comment about Alicia sitting there. They start arguing, and then they're like, "We're gonna go to Scott and demand a match. I'm doing
So
it
that is
first."
Alicia Edwards, right?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
Eddie's wife.
I thought it was. I was like, she gets challenged to a match. Not sure who that is.
Yeah, it was not a good segment. And then we move on to the Knockouts title match. Deonna Purrazzo, the champion, against ODB, one dirty bitch. Um, which love ODB.
I mean, yeah, but this match was exactly what we thought it would be.
Yep, it was good. Deonna did a really good job. Playing into her character. I
Yeah,
actually
she
did some
really
more
worked well.
research into Deonna during this match because I was like, I know I saw some stuff in NXT, watched her for a few months now on Impact, but I'm like, I really don't know a whole hell of a lot about her. And
Yeah.
I looked into it, and everything from her style to the nickname, the Virtuosa, and stuff like that. She does a very good job at playing it all. Now that I've actually looked into it and read it, I'm like, yes, she for sure is doing exactly what she's wanted her character to do. She's slow and methodical when she needs to be, very good with certain technical submissions. And then I mean ODB is just the wild motherfucker that she's always been. um
Yeah, exactly. It was
uh
yeah, just fantastic on both parts.
Yeah, they did a really, really good job. Deonna Purrazzo retaining her championship, though, as to be expected.
Yes.
Um, but what did you give this match out of 5?
So I gave it a 2, even though it was a really good match. I just thought we could have not had this match at all, seeing as Perazo hasn't defended her title on the last few shows. So why did she need to defend against ODB? Like, what makes ODB a more worthy challenger than Jordan Grace?
Because ODB challenged. That's the only thing I'm gonna give. The thing is, sure, she hasn't
That's
defended
fair.
it, but I can't think of on the last few shows or whatnot that
Yeah.
I can remember a like direct like I want the title shot.
No, that's
They've done it
fair.
for the tag titles and stuff, but I can't say anybody's done it for Deonna, which isn't a reason to not set something up. I think the
Right.
only reason they get away with it is because of literally uh Impact 2 weeks ago where ODB came out, attacked her, and basically held the title up being like, I want it.
No, and I
That's
get
all
that
I
there was
got.
a story, But I'm just saying we could have put somebody else in ODB's position to kind of bring them up, and it would have like, I'm not saying this match was bad by any means at all. I enjoyed this match. I just think it was unnecessary.
Yeah, the only reason I'll like, I do agree. I always agree with putting younger talent first and whatnot. But I mean, in this scenario, ODB gives Deanna, a nice little rub. I mean, you're talking knockouts of old versus the knockouts
Yeah,
of
yeah.
new. I personally gave the match a 3.25. I thought it was really
That's fair.
solid. I think I gave it a little more due to the fact of during the match, like I said, looking into Deanna's character and what it's supposed to be and all that stuff, and then watching the match and going,
Yeah, yeah.
like, a lot of these people come into a match and their character is supposed to be this. And then you don't feel it during the match. You feel it during a promo, you feel it during the post match, but when they're wrestling, you're sitting there going, you're really not doing anything for me
Yeah.
to fuel your character. And when I read that about Deanna and then watched how she was in the ring, I was like, you know what? You do a really good job there. Um, and then I mean, like I said, I just ODB's great. So I gave
Yeah.
them a good rating. I thought the match was really solid.
It was, and like I said, I'm not gonna take anything away from the match. My rating is solely based on the fact that I think this match could have been either non-existent or an entirely different person, and it would have just been not necessarily a better match, but just something to do for the future. Because right now, the only challenger that I have seen for the Knockouts Championship since we've started watching has been ODB.
Has there not been another?
There has not been another girl to challenge.
She didn't defend it on Hard to Kill.
No. She was in a tag match on Hard to Kill.
Really?
Yeah. She was the only person to not defend at Hard to Kill.
Interesting.
She has not defended her title once since we have been watching her.
Huh. I find that interesting. I mean, that's one of those instances where I mean, Impact really has to kind of get their shit together on
Yeah.
their
And that's why I'm like, so why did it have to be ODB?
Was there really anybody else sitting on the roster right now though that could have came out and demanded a title match and it have worked?
Oh, hang on a minute. Was Taya's last match against her? No, it was not. Was it?
Yeah, for the
Was it
title, I
for
think.
the title?
I believe
'Cause that's the
so.
only other one I could think of maybe being for the title. But that's about it, and that was only given to Taya because she was leaving.
Yeah, I want to say that was for
And
the
that might have been at Hard to Kill. If that's the case, that might have been at Hard to Kill.
it was in fact at Hard to Kill for
Okay,
the Knockouts title. I was gonna
that's
say I
fine.
remember the title being defended at Hard to Kill. I was so
But
confused there.
but the thing is because Taya left right after that, I had no care for the match again. So ODB is going to be in the exact same situation. She is defending against people who are literally leaving and we know are not going to win.
um, yeah,
And like I
I
said, it wasn't a bad match. It just I feel like if Impact is trying to say she is the best knockout on the division, they could have done a bit better.
like I said though, I don't think there's anybody else with that short of time for build up that they could have thrown in that position and given the title shot to, because I mean Grace was already in the tag match.
Yeah. But they had kind
So
of moved her out of that, and then they didn't. Like,
I don't know. I have no idea. But if we want to talk about bad, how about we move on to the next segment?
yeah.
Scott in his office, Scott Demore. And Tennille and Alicia come in. They're like, we want the match. Scott's like, fine, you can have it. A 6-on-6 knockouts match. And everybody is like, what?
Excuse me.
Like, not just them. Everybody watching from home was like, what the fuck is this? And we didn't even get participants, did we?
No, we didn't.
So I guess moving on. Okay, next up we have Finn Juice, David Finlay and Juice Robinson against the Good Brothers for the Impact Tag Team titles. Once again, Impact looked at my prediction and went, fuck you.
And I just want to quickly say before we move on, there's only 12 knockouts on the Impact roster.
Oh jeez. So it's every fucking active Impact. Oh my god.
That's why the championship felt so meh, because Taya was the only competitor besides Jordan Grace who was not already.
Wow.
Yeah,
And I had just
that's
read
why,
that
and that wasn't including ODB. ODB is not on the roster.
And I had just read as we were talking that she had defended the title against Rosemary at the December Impact Plus. And so, like, you're talking anybody that's qualified on that roster as basically challenged because she beat Su Yung for the title.
I think they need to talk to AEW and say, can we use some of your women?
Like, well, that's why I'm saying Rebellion, the women's match is going to be a crossover match. Has to be.
It literally has to be.
And Impact Wrestling totally set up for my prediction for Rebellion here as well. Because I was sitting here going, how do they do this match? This is how they fucking do this match. Because, fuck me and everything I stand for.
A big middle finger.
This match was fantastic. All four guys just tore the fucking house down.
Yeah.
You got any notes?
It seems like he's not going as Doc Gallows. He's going as Big LG.
Yeah, well, obviously you can't use Luke Gallows.
But he was Doc Gallows in Impact Wrestling when he last was there.
Yeah, and they're still calling him Doc Gallows.
But they only referred to him as Big LG in this match. He was never referred to as Doc Gallows.
Oh?
Yes. And when D'Lo talked about him, it was always, and Big LG is walking into the ring. Big LG is doing this.
I don't know. Maybe they did in fact switch it up for him.
I'm not 100% sure, but I never heard them say Doc Gallows. I don't even think they said Gallows.
Oh, like I said, I have absolutely no idea there. I didn't really pay attention.
Yeah, but I heard him, because I've heard them call him Big LG, and that's just one of his nicknames, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, that's fine. But then when it kept coming up, I was like, okay, are they going to call him Doc at some point? Because that's his ring name. But
maybe I'll have to listen to it back because I don't know. Anyways, that's interesting. But we have Finn Juice winning the titles, which is huge. And I mean, Straker and D'Lo made it feel really big, which was really nice. They, history's been made and this and that. I thought that was a very, very nice feeling for this match. And I mean, congrats to Finn Juice. I mean,
I didn't expect them to win, and they won with a doomsday device.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so it was good. What did you give this match out of 5?
A 3.5.
I gave it a 3.75.
That's
I thought I don't know. I loved the X Division match, the X Division title match, but sitting here watching this, I mean, Ace winning was a big surprise, but I think the fact that they gave it to Finn Juice was even bigger of a surprise to me. Like, I was sure for the X Division title, like, TJP will win. But I mean, if they give it to Ace, whatever. I was sitting here for this match, and I'm like, Good Brothers win any way you look at it.
Hmm.
Because I was like, it's a crossover, right?
Yeah,
Finn Juice is here
exactly.
from New Japan. They're not going to win the belts. And then they won the belts. And I was like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
sure, sure. Um, so it was
No,
good.
yeah, exactly. It was a really good match. I loved it.
And then we move on to the main event, the TNA World Heavyweight Champion Moose against the Impact World Champion Rich Swann to unify the titles. We
Yes.
already knew the outcome of this match due to spoilers, obviously.
Yep.
But this match fucking killed it.
Yeah, it was just
When Moose fucking hops onto the top rope, picks up Swan, and just does the fucking I,
Oh, you're talking about the fall away moonsault slam from the top rope, right?
yes.
But you're forgetting about the move that came before that. The moonsault into a cutter.
Yes, that too. I figured that's where you were going. This match had a lot of good shit. If you have not watched it yet, do yourself the biggest favor you can and watch it.
Yes. Cause oh my god, if those two moves that we just said weren't enough for you, like what do you want out of wrestling?
The match was fantastic. I gotta give props to Moose, because he's done really good. I've enjoyed his stuff since I started watching Impact, but I'm always very iffy about guys coming from other sports trying to make their way into pro wrestling because it can happen. It
Yeah.
happens all the time. I mean, you look at somebody like Baron Corbin, right? Baron Corbin's the same way there, but I'm always very like, you have to show me something. I have to be impressed 100% by you once to be like to give you my full respect. I have tons of respect for absolutely everybody stepping within those ropes because it's not an easy thing to do.
Yeah.
But you've got to show me something, especially if you're coming from another sport already kind of having a name, trying to make your way through. You got to show me something. And this, if I wasn't already shown something before, which I mean that six man at Hard to Kill was fantastic.
Hmm.
This match was fucking great. It
Yeah.
makes me honestly a bit sad that we're not going to see Moose and Kenny after the performance Moose put on because I'm like, I kind of want that match.
I mean, we might still get it after Kenny wins. Maybe Moose will be like, see, you could beat Swan, but you would never be able to beat me. Swan got me on an off night, blah, 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 blah,
I
blah.
was going to say, how do we do this? Do we do the off night bit again? But
Yeah,
sure. Um, but yeah, Rich Swann wins, unifies the titles, and will face Kenny Omega at Rebellion. What did you give this match out of 5?
I gave it a 4, but I definitely could give it more. If I had given it a lot more, I would have been too inclined to almost give it a 5.
I gave it a
I had to almost stop myself.
4.25. I gave it a
Yeah.
4.25 myself because I was like, I gotta give it a little more, but like, I can't be like, take every number I can give you.
Yeah, like, as I started to write 4, I was like, "But I could give it a 5." I'm like, "See, but if I do that, then that takes away from anything else because this wasn't a 5, but this wasn't not a 5." Like,
Pretty well. Pretty well. Um, so overall speaking, what did you rate this event out of a 5?
I gave it a 4 out of 5.
Give it a 4.
Yeah,
Not bad, not bad, not
really,
bad.
really good show.
I gave it a 3.75, just a little under. Because There was parts that made it feel special, but as I've said previously for Impact specials and that, once again, 3 hour glorified Impact, Tuesday Impact, with some good spots. Like, that's the thing. I've given high praise to a lot of the matches, not saying anything wrong with it, but there are certain parts of it that I'm like, if it would have just been on an Impact, I wouldn't have batted my eyes about it.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
so, and speaking of ratings and that, our Twitter polls that we run, 83.3% thought it was a great show, 16.7 did not enjoy it, and we had nobody sitting on the fence for that show. Which, I mean, I think shows how good it was.
Yeah, exactly.
Our of the night segments, which we'll run through here and then get to Raw, as we are pushing time a little bit here.
Yeah.
Your match of the night, I can only assume.
Uh, I gave it to actually all three of the men title matches: the X Division, the Tag, and the World.
Oh, okay, sure. I gave it specifically to the world title match, but you are totally fair and just in doing so.
And I don't want to take away from Perazo or even Fire and Flavor. Like I said, they weren't bad matches, but these
There's not enough in the
seven,
women's
8 men?
division.
Was it 8 men in those matches? Yeah, 8.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah.
Yeah, those 8 men put on and made you feel like the title was important the entire time.
Sadly, the women's matches just weren't there.
If the title wasn't on the line, the match would have read the exact same.
Yep. Yep, where I don't think the men's matches would have.
No, I don't think it would have at all.
It happens, sadly.
It really does.
Segment of the night.
So this is where I give it back to them. I gave it to ODB and Perazo.
Okay.
Because like I said, it was a good match. I just my rating is on the booking end of it. The actual match was really good.
Yep. No, that's fair. I gave it to Rhino's heel turn
That's
because
fair.
I did not see it coming.
I didn't see it coming, but I don't know what to think of it.
See, neither do I, but the fact that he came out and I went, "Oh, okay. Oh, fuck. Wait, what?" Just it was enough for me to be like, "Yep. Okay. Yeah, you get this. Cool."
Yeah.
Performer of the night.
Okay. So I gave it to Moose and Swan and the Good Brothers and Finjuice, and I'm not taking away from Ace and TJP here, but those men did something in their matches that like caught my eye, whereas TJP and Ace did run their pretty well standard match. It was just a fantastic match.
Sure. So mine. Okay. I sat for a while on this one trying to decide because mine was gonna end up being, a ton of people.
Yeah.
Because top to bottom, the card ran pretty well with just a few hiccups.
Yeah.
Um, like, I don't know if there was overall an absolutely bad performer on the card. Some
No, and that's
matches didn't hold up,
yeah.
but as for the performers, I think this is the first card. Not to sound, like an ass. I mean, yes, I know I'm not a wrestler. Who am I to say anything? But this is one of the first cards I've watched in a very, very long time that I was like, you know what? Everybody actually went out and did a very fucking good job.
Yeah, exactly. It was a very good show. Everybody put on their best minus about 5 minutes of the show.
Yeah, yeah. So like I've gotta applaud the performers on the card. That's
Yeah.
about it.
Moving
I
on to about that 5 minutes of the show with our worst of the night,
Yeah, what's your worst of the night, Blake?
the Swingers Palace.
Yep. Yep. And the Scott Demore segment as well,
I kind of
following it
just
up.
I just kind of lumped all those together. Now, I'll admit, in this one, it seems like Scott is kind of rolling over to the women. He has a backbone against like the guys, but he's just kind of like, okay, I'll give you your match.
Yeah, like I won't give you exactly what you want, but like here you go.
Yeah, like he's not as take no shit with the women for some reason right now.
Who knows?
It might have pissed him off.
My other part of my worst of the night is the fact that I was actually, after the last few pay-per-views, I can't, like, I don't mean to sound like an asshole. I can't say I've been like pumped for the Impact on Tuesday, but after that one, I was actually like, I'm looking forward to Impact on Tuesday. Like if they follow this up, which they haven't, so I don't know
That's what I
why.
was about to say.
But
Their history isn't fantastic.
that's why I actually put it there, because I was like, I'm actually looking forward to it, but they haven't held up, and I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
Um, but yeah.
do you want to move on to Raw?
Do we have to?
Oh, we won't take long.
Good. Okay.
All right, well, let's start it out. The almighty WWE champion Bobby Lashley makes his way down to the ring.
Where's our celebration?
Yeah.
Where is? Hold on. Before we even get there, we open the show and they go, officially confirmed for WrestleMania. We will have Bobby Lashley versus Drew McIntyre for the title. And I'm sitting here going, okay.
Right.
Why?
I mean, I'll admit when my feed was a bit weird, I had to actually refresh it, and so when my feed refreshed, it came, so it was just Bobby.
Okay,
So,
yeah, they announced that right off the top of the card. I'm like,
that makes sense as to why they just kept talking about this match, and I'm like, so this is a thing. Okay, okay.
Yeah, they announced it right off the top of the card. They showed the match card piece for it and everything. And I'm sitting here being like, we have a pay-per-view this Sunday. Why did we make this match already? I'm sorry.
Wait, Sheamus?
Yeah, Sheamus and Drew. But
well, okay, Sheamus, but is somebody challenging for the
no.
WWE? How do I feel about that?
Well, you should feel the exact same way you felt about the possibility of a tag team match with the Universal Champion being involved, in my opinion.
No, I do feel that's what I mean. Like,
but to me, them setting up this match, and I mean, it kind of gives away Sunday, but you've got Drew and Sheamus fighting. I'm sorry. If Sheamus were to beat Drew in any way, shape, or form, why the fuck does Drew McIntyre get the shot?
Because it'll make it a triple threat. Oh my god, that's what they're doing.
No. Well, we've officially got confirmation that not officially, but officially, we got confirmation that The Miz will not be involved in the title picture at Mania.
Oh, he's not involved in the title picture.
But I very much hated this. I hate the way they're building this card. I hate that we've got no build for certain things. Yeah, does it make sense Drew challenges Bobby? To an extent, yes, it does. But can you not give us something more? Can you not make us give a shit that these people have title matches?
For the main title in the company, as it is the WWE champion, that should be classified as higher than the Universal champion.
I was just actually very, very angry at a lot of even the tag title match, which you mentioned earlier. I was like, I'm sorry. This is WrestleMania. This is the biggest show of the year, and I'm not taking away from any of the 4 guys that'll be in that match. Granted, I can only give props to 3 out of the 4. Because I mean, I've never seen Omos in competition. I know he's performed on NXT live events. He's been signed for 4 fucking years. But
and I mean, he beat people up in Underground.
But I'm like, we're building up to the biggest show of the year, and so why is everybody standing around backstage? Apparently, if you want a title match, all you got to do is ask, and you're gonna
Unless
get it.
you're Braun Strowman.
We'll get to that. Fuck, fuck you. Anyways, I'm just like, you're gonna make me give no shits about anything on Mania, which is so disappointing because I'm so excited. We've got fans back, potentially. We're supposed to have fans back. But I'm gonna not care about most of the card.
Yeah, and it's 2 nights.
So I
So is
mean,
TakeOver.
yeah, well, I mean,
But the
and
thing is, I don't think a TakeOver needs to be 2 nights. We've talked about that.
here's something
Uh,
that'll terrify you for a second, though, and then we'll move on through the card. So we've got 3 weeks, 4 weeks until Mania.
they said 4 on Raw last
Okay,
night.
so we've got 4 weeks till Mania. Okay, 2 shows a week to build up to a 2-night WrestleMania. Okay.
Well, 3 if you do include
No, no, no,
NXT,
no,
but
no, no, no. I'm not. I'm
yeah.
not for a reason. Okay. We've got 2 shows to build up 2 nights of a card. We've got 4 weeks, which means 4 NXTs to build up to a 2-night takeover.
Mhm.
I am terrified of the build up to takeover. If this is the build up we're getting to the biggest show of the year, WrestleMania, with 5 hours of programming just in their 2 main shows a week,
I always forget about that.
that's 20 hours to build up. That's all we've got left is 20 hours to build up to
Plus
WrestleMania.
commercials, which we already know Raw runs almost an hour of commercials.
Let's exclude the commercials and let's go run time from 8 to 11 and 8 to 10. We have 20 hours. There is only 8 hours of NXT to build up to a 2-night takeover.
I have more faith in the NXT show than I do in Mania right now.
I do
And
too.
we have
But
Edge confirmed for the card.
But I'm terrified for TakeOver still. If I'm terrified about the build to TakeOver, think of how I'm feeling about WrestleMania.
Oh, I'm just not looking forward to WrestleMania at this point.
I think of Mania and I start shaking because I'm so nervous.
Like, Mania is that moment, like, it's supposed to be the best fucking thing. And Raw and SmackDown are making us not even want to tune into their weekly show for their build. Like, we've discussed being like, are we really gonna watch this show this week? Because
And I'm pretty sure we've basically agreed that post Mania we're done doing specific shows for Raw and SmackDown for everybody listening.
mhm.
I just I don't know, man. I don't know.
Do you want to start running down the card then?
Yeah, so as you said, Bobby Lashley and MVP come out.
Yeah, so this is surely going to be for the championship celebration that we were confirmed we were going to have on Friday, right? No.
Uh,
MVP makes an announcement. We are officially in the Almighty era, which pretty sure when Bobby
Lashley
won.
won that started, but okay.
Well, not even that. I'm pretty sure the commentator said, and the era of the Almighty has begun.
Yep.
We already knew this.
But MVP officially declared it. Moving on.
Yeah. We get basically Lashley just talking about all his stuff. We get Miz and Morrison coming out. Yeah.
Oh, here's my real quick note here. Okay. Miz and Morrison come out, they're talking. And Miz goes, I should get my fair shot at the title. I didn't get a fair shot. I was having my stomach issues and whatnot. I'm like, what the fuck was last week? I'm like, last time I checked, you got your fair fucking shot, did you not? It opened the fucking show.
Because he's not smart. It's okay. I mean, did you see his best friend with the mullet?
Kind of looked like his wife's hair.
It was his wife's hair, but it was
Okay.
definitely supposed to be a mullet. Like,
Thank you. I saw it and I'm like, why are you doing Taya's hair?
yeah,
Sorry, John. It doesn't work on you, in my opinion. But
no,
moving on again.
again. We
Drew
get Drew.
McIntyre.
Yeah, he comes out, congratulates Lashley,
He
and
doesn't
then
even look at the Miz.
no, just walks right past him. And then kind of vaguely mentions Lashley and his time in Impact, which was
Yep.
kind of neat.
Yep.
Uh, uh, but apparently, like, I didn't read it this way. Apparently, Drew was meant like directing this kind of at MVP, like he was talking to MVP almost,
Okay.
because Lashley's like, "Don't worry about MVP." I'm like, well, I don't think he was, but okay.
Sure.
Uh, anyway, we basically just get more. I'm gonna beat you at Mania. No, I'm gonna beat you at Mania. No, blah, blah, blah,
And then
blah.
Miz jumps up on the apron, and Drew's like, "Oh fuck, you're there, right?"
Yeah,
And
you,
then, um,
you can continue because
basically Drew's like, "Miz, you can run or die," and then Lashley attacks Drew, leaves. Miz starts attacking Drew more. Bobby's walking up the ramp, and here's fucking Sheamus attacking Lashley.
oh, they have a
And
match tonight.
yeah, by the way, they have a match tonight. Uh, and then I I don't even know, man. We
Drew
cut.
McIntyre struggles to beat The Miz.
So hold on, we go to commercial. We come back. We get a backstage interview with Sheamus.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Sheamus is like, yeah, I'm gonna win. We're like,
Yeah,
okay. And then we go to the ring. We see McIntyre struggling to get to his feet. And then they're like, let us run you through the WrestleMania card.
yeah, they did that, didn't
And I'm
they?
like, hold up. We've got two guys in the ring ready to go. Well, Miz is ready to go. Drew's struggling to get to his feet after, the 4 minutes he was just given.
Yeah,
But let us run you through the WrestleMania card. And then we come back, and Drew's not even on his feet yet. And you can visibly see the referee be like, we're good to go. And Drew's like, okay. And they start the match.
yeah. And then the
As you
former
said.
WWE champion Drew McIntyre, he struggles to beat The Miz, who, yes, is the former
I
WWE
was going to say,
champion as well.
sorry. You mentioned Drew's a former champion. What about The Miz?
Right, but we've established The Miz wins his championships with Money in the Banks. Drew wins it with big kicks to the face.
Oh, wow. Yeah, it's a match. Morrison gets kicked out very obviously at one point. And don't you love the finish? I'm
What,
looking at your face.
the entirely ineffective Claymore now?
Yep. Oh, but come on, he was taunting his WrestleMania opponent, Blake. For those
Oh,
of
I'm
you
not.
who
So the claim. No, I'm not even talking about the fact that he did that. When the Claymore hits with no smack,
Oh,
looks
that was
shit.
awful. I wanted to die from that.
Yeah, I'm not even talking about the finish.
Okay.
Finish.
Yeah,
I'm
because of the thigh
talking about,
slap fines. Yeah.
yeah, Drew's kick. It hits Miz, and it's just like, it's just you don't hear a smack, you don't hear what we assumed as fans has been the crack of somebody's jaw. We don't
Yeah,
hear that anymore.
because you can't leg slap. So he hits the Claymore, doesn't pin him, and then puts him in the Hurt Lock, which Miz taps out too, because McIntyre's facing Lashley at Mania. Um,
and he's gotta get in the head of the champion.
Yeah, pretty well. We have literally a quick clip of Bad Bunny and Damian Priest walking backstage. We're like, cool. And
We're the
then
best friends and I'm a champion. Like, that was basically it.
Here's the best part of the show. We go to commercial, and when we come back, Braun is finishing his promo. I'm sitting here like, holy shit, Raw did something
Yeah.
good. We didn't have to listen to Braun cut a fucking promo.
Wait a minute. Braun is finishing his promo? Like, you didn't get the recap to Braun and Shane?
What I got is coming back to Raw and Braun finishing, like, he goes, so get out here, Shane, and the announcers are like, so if you're just tuning back in, like, this is what's happening.
I had a full recap of Braun and Shane. Like, of what happened last week. I had Shane going, Braun and stuff like that.
But did it do the same thing to you that it cut to the end of Braun's promo, though, after?
He just immediately was in the ring and called Shane out. They never made mention of the promo. He just called Shane out.
Yeah, when mine came back, he was middle of his sentence and was basically just like, so get out here, Shane. And the announcers were like, yeah, if you're just joining us back here, Braun Strowman just came to the ring and demanded that Shane McMahon come out here. And
when they recast it on the right after Raw, because they immediately run Raw right back to back, they definitely doctored it because they had made it so you had known at least what was going on with Braun and Shane.
yeah, I watch on Sportsnet and it did the whole viewer discretion is advised, and it came in and it was Braun being like, so you get your ass out here, Shane. And I was like, what?
Yeah, we had Braun in the ring and there was no music, nothing, and all he said was get your ass out to the ring, but we had run a Shane and Braun package showing what happened last week.
Yeah, he was in the middle of his sentence when mine came back. Anyways.
Yeah.
So Shane comes out.
Shane, he senses some hostility.
Do we have to talk about this? Like,
I don't want to, but it was on the show.
Braun challenges Shane to a match. After Shane calling him stupid a few more times, Shane accepts, and I literally have in my note here, this match will not happen, I guarantee it. Anyways, and that's about it. We have the opponents.
Oh, you caught this too, eh?
The opponents up next, all hanging out backstage. Naomi, Lana, Dana Brooke, and Mandy Rose.
They're all besties.
Truth comes in, spouting off about Stone Cold because it's 316 week. Today is actually 316.
He was thinking it was 316 day today.
Yeah,
like that day, and that was not the case.
Give him a hell yeah, drink some beer, whatnot. Cool. We have Nia Jackson, Shayna Baszler coming out as we go to commercial. Then when we come back,
you don't want to talk about how we'll see Truth later tonight?
No. So we get Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke versus Naomi and Lana. The match is going. Shayna and Nia are on commentary. Asuka comes out.
One thing I want to point out, Shayna finally has side plates.
Does she?
She does.
Okay. I wasn't even looking. Asuka comes out. Because why not? Yeah. Shayna's like, I'll take care of this. Shayna runs up to the stage and Asuka's just like, fuck you. They start getting separated by officials. And then can we talk about the finish to this match? Dana Brooke wins with a neck breaker. That's not her finisher, is it?
I don't think so.
I didn't think so either.
I want to tell you how much I cared about this match. I had in the like I write tag team match and then who the competitors are, right? I wrote Lana and Dana Brooke versus Naomi and Lana because that's how much I was paying attention to this match. I caught it at the finish because I wrote Dana Brooke and Mandy Rose defeat Lana and Naomi. I just didn't care about what was going on because this match it wasn't about the tag match. It was about it was about the titles, but it also wasn't about the titles because it was about Asuka.
You want to know something interesting?
Probably not.
So, obviously, this is... I don't know the last time it would have been updated, but I like going on the pro wrestling fandom pages and that, because it always lists off, the finishing moves and signatures and stuff. Dana Brooke does not utilize that spinning neckbreaker, not only not for a finisher, but also not for a signature. So she won with just a fucking regular move. Anyways, moving on.
Lana, right? Or was it Naomi?
It was Lana. I think. I would assume. Anyways, we get the New Day and Riddle in gorilla position. Like, let's get tattoos and scooters. New Day's like, no tattoos, but scooters, okay. And that's that.
Yeah, and they're going to win the titles tonight. That's what they said. They're going to win the titles tonight.
Yep, and I was like, there's no way. There's no way they're going to do that to the Hurt Business. And so we get the New Day, Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods against the Hurt Business, Cedric Alexander and Shelton Benjamin for the tag titles. And
I would like to ask, can we please get new tag titles?
Please.
Because
please.
They look so shit. At least paint them.
Yep. Agreed. 100%.
You look at the AEW tag titles and either one of the Raw or SmackDown tag titles, and you go, wow, I want this one because this one's shit.
Did they just take a penny and like...
Well, this is a nickel. The original one was the penny.
Right. My apologies.
Remember when it was on the black strap?
Moving on. So we have this match, and like I said, no way they're gonna do this to the Hurt Business, right? Well, New Day are 11-time tag champs. New Day wins.
I called this last week when we were talking about this. We're like, why would the New Day pick up a victory here? I was like, because they're gonna win the tag titles next week, and they did.
I have no disrespect to the New Day. I fucking love the New Day, but this just made me mad.
Okay, so we had the descent of Hurt Business, 2 months ago now? They've gotten their shit together. Why did they lose?
Oh, because why not? And then after the match, we have AJ Styles and Omos come out. And AJ's like, hey, we want to challenge you for the titles. Me and Omos. Kingston's like, you guys even a team? You guys even work together? Sure, we accept. And that's it. That's it.
So, what the fuck? So we're going to get Shelton Benjamin versus Cedric Alexander at WrestleMania.
It's going to be the demise of the Hurt Business, and Lashley will lose the title.
Fuck off.
And turn on MVP.
Why would he turn on MVP?
Because it's the dissolution of the Hurt Business.
But what does MVP have to do with Bobby losing the title?
Bobby's going to be pissed that he lost the title. He needs to take his anchor out.
MVP.
And he's going to kill MVP.
Alright, okay.
How else does this go, Blake? How else do we do this? Now here's the question. Which title closes which night? Which world title closes which night? Do we have
24/7 title closes the first night? Oh my god, watch me be right and have R-Truth somehow be in the last shot of the last night, or the first night. Watch me be fucking right.
Rob Gronkowski comes back to win?
No, he just signed a new deal with the Bucks. Although I guess there's an off-season coming up, so you might be right.
Anyways, moving on. We have Miz and Morrison walking backstage. They run into Bad Bunny and Damian Priest.
Priest gets in Miz's face, and they're like, "Okay, bye."
And then Truth is very obviously trying to sneak up on Bad Bunny again. He's like, I want my baby back. Like, you can take like this
Stone
lunch
Cold plushie,
the
this
plushie.
the lunchbox.
Yeah, the lunchbox with the beer in it, with Stone Cold's beer in it,
Yeah.
and
The replica Smoking Skull Championship.
Bad Bunny's like, you know what? You're cool. Here's your title back.
And do you want to know? I finally got confirmed when we had questioned the validity of Bad Bunny's championship when he had brought it back to Raw last week. Did you see the back of it when Truth held it?
It had it had snaps, didn't it?
It did, but it also had the commemorative sticker and plate on the back.
Wait, what? I didn't notice that. I just noticed it had snaps.
Mm-hmm. Maybe, sorry, did I say commemorative? I meant to say replica. I didn't read commemorative, but it had that logo and the sticker on the back.
Oh, God.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, my
It
God.
was a replica title. Bad Bunny lost the 24/7 title or has in some way not brought it back to the Thunderdome.
Is there a chance that maybe they just gave him the replica so they didn't have to give him the actual one?
But why would they then not use it in this moment to hand back to Truth? Because if that's the case,
Continuality? Continuity?
maybe, but I mean,
Anyways.
if Truth has the regular one, fine.
I don't
It
know.
is
It's
odd.
weird. And then you want to know the best part is suddenly, as soon as Truth has the title again, here's everybody looking for the 24/7 championship. Moving
Because
on.
Priest wasn't scaring them off anymore.
Oh my God. Moving on. We come back from commercial. We have Elias and Jackson Riker in the ring. WWE announces that the Mania tickets will not go on sale now today because they are still finalizing the plans for WrestleMania. So they're going to try and sell, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they do. They're going to try and sell 45,000 tickets, or not true, 90,000, because they're trying for 45,000 a night. 90,000 tickets in less than 3 weeks.
Yeah. I mean, they rewrote the entire card of Mania, apparently.
It will
We
be
might not even get Reigns and Edge. Watch them just take Edge out of the match. Like,
no,
have
I
him just
will
get hurt.
okay, I will be honest. I do not care at this point who Edge faces. I just want to see Edge standing tall at the end of WrestleMania with fans in attendance holding a world title. At this point, I don't give a shit about any other part of the storyline. I just want that show to finish with Edge with a world title.
I
That's my
don't see him beating Roman, which is scary.
okay, and it sucks, but put him up against Bryan. I think I'm gonna enjoy the
I'm
match
fine with
more.
that. I'm fine with that, but I physically don't see him beating Roman.
I'm sorry, I want Edge to have that world title. I don't care if
I
he
do too.
loses it at the next fucking pay-per-view, whatever. I
Or if
want
he
to
just relinquishes it and retires and it goes out the way he wants to.
I still
Like,
don't think he's gonna do that, but
no, which is fine, but
um
like,
I need him to win that title, or else him winning the Rumble and all this build up, this big dream comeback to me does nothing. Which sucks because I'm a huge Edge fan, but anyways,
you want to talk about the longest match in Raw history?
longest?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Damian Priest hits the lights and beats Jackson Riker.
That is the fucking match.
I think he hits his signature, then his finisher.
Oh yeah, it
So
takes nothing. Elias attacks from behind. He grabs a guitar. Bad Bunny comes in, stops him. Elias picks him up and walks around with him for a minute. Bad Bunny slides off, gives Elias a right hand, Priest hits the lights. They're standing there. And I honestly, the second I saw Morrison, I typed what happened right away because I knew it was happening. John Morrison starts walking down the ramp, and then Miz comes up from behind and hits Bad Bunny with the guitar. The guitar doesn't explode.
I think he grabbed the wrong guitar because Jackson and Elias, I think, came out with both two guitars.
Did they?
I think so. And I think they grabbed the wrong one.
Well, all I know is I saw it and I was like, wow.
I could be wrong though, but I thought I saw Jackson take off a guitar when he got in the ring.
Dude, Elias didn't even play the guitar. There's no reason that guitar shouldn't have been rigged to break.
Right? Yeah. Well, no, we can't have thigh slapping, so can't have broken guitars.
Oh, fuck. Anyways, that's that segment. Backstage interview with Lashley and MVP. They're like,
it's pretty much the exact same thing.
We're going to win.
Yeah.
Then we have Shane-O in the ring. Braun comes out. Shane runs out of the ring, grabs a mic, taunts Braun, does hopscotch, tells Braun that it'll help him count. Braun gets pissed, chases Shane around, finally catches Shane. They go at it for a bit. Shane grabs a camera, hits Braun with the camera probably half a dozen times, sets him up on the announce table, hits the big flying elbow off the top rope, and then goes and grabs Nickelodeon green slime from under the ring, 2 buckets worth. And
I thought it was green paint.
And pours it over top of Braun and leaves. I just recapped a 25-minute segment in as long as it took to write it.
So we're going to get Shane McMahon versus Braun Strowman in a green goo match similar to the Mimosa Mayhem match.
Just fucking have Nickelodeon sponsor the fucking match at Mania. They're gonna do their own version of an exploding barbed wire death match, but instead of it being that, it's gonna be Nickelodeon sponsored, and it's gonna be green goo. And every time they hit the ring ropes, there's gonna be an explosion of goo.
If you believe in that theory that, like, whenever you say something, a universe is created where that exists, you just created a universe where you made a version of us really sad.
Wait, the version of us right now in this universe isn't already really sad because we're getting Braun and Shane at Fastlane, and we know we're not getting Braun and Shane at Fastlane?
Fine, but you made it worse.
How? I gave the match a stipulation. And if the match isn't done in 50...
stipulation happens? I was about to ask, what cage is it in?
It'll be in a steel cage.
Or it has to be Hell in a Cell. Shane wants to jump off of it again.
No. It'll be a steel cage. That way they can set up the green goo explosions. And after 15 minutes, because we know the match won't get any more than that, the ring explodes with the green goo. And then we get the Nickelodeon Teen Choice Awards.
Does that mean that that's the main event?
If it's a green goo explosion match, yes. That'll be the main event in night 1.
You're going to say they can clean all that up before night 2?
Well, yeah.
That has to main event night 2, man.
No, it doesn't. It main events night 1.
I don't think it does.
Yes, yeah, it main events night 1. It's only 24 hours. They're going to have all the secondary ring stuff in the back, and then they just mop up. They got 24 hours. They'll be fine. Well,
they would have to pull up all of the padding, all of the pretty much tear the ring down to metal, and then remake the ring.
You remember that they did live tours where they did 4 cities in a weekend, right?
Yes, I do. But the thing is, that was when they were able to have their numbers inflated for attendance numbers.
They'll be fine. They'll main event night 1.
What number do they say for WrestleMania to break a record this year?
They say 45,000 because it'll be 45,600 and something. Mark my words. And it'll be the world record for the largest attendance since the start of the pandemic is what they'll announce, and they'll set the pyro off.
Yeah. And that's definitely what WWE will
I,
do.
I was gonna
Like,
say, am I wrong? It will in fact
no,
be the largest attendance
it will be.
in the United States.
Un- mm, Unless they can figure out the two championship matches or two championship celebrations that happened in Raymond James, because I know they had a fuck ton of people in them.
Okay, the largest live event since the pandemic then?
I
Because they can
mean,
get away with that.
they could get away with that, but I'm not 100% certain. There might have been bans at those.
They'll ignore it though. Because the thing
Yeah,
is, it was a celebration. It wasn't the Super Bowl, so they're not going to count it. But the
that's fair.
if they state the largest live event since the start of the pandemic, if they don't specify the like North America or the United States, I'm gonna call them out on their shit because I'm pretty sure it was like Taiwan or someplace back in the fall had a music festival with 100,000 people because they don't have a fucking case of COVID.
Well, I mean, New Zealand and Australia are the same way. Like they've had raves, concerts, all the
It
same
might have
thing.
been New
We're talking
Zealand.
about rock.
Oh yeah, by the way, we're talking about Raw. Actually the next segment's decent. We get Alexis Playground.
We do get that same promo for Rhea as well.
So I totally missed that, by the way. I saw it on YouTube and Twitter afterwards, and I'm like, wait, hold on, like we got a Rhea Ripley package again? I didn't even notice it.
And
Um,
hello to DJ Yanix. Yanix.
yeah, greetings from the UK. Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so we get Alexa's Playground in that interview ring backstage, and she basically challenges Orton at the pay-per-view, which I was like, yes, because that means the return of the Fiend, and we get 3 weeks of build up.
Bold of you to assume we're not still getting Randy Orton versus Randy Orton at Fastlane, because my thought of this is it's going to be Alexa Bliss coming down to the ring. Then the lights are going to fuck up, and it's going to be the dark-eyed Orton, and he's going to walk to the ring and just murderize the other Orton.
Oh god, because the dark Orton had the hoodie, so they'll be able to put the hoodie over. Oh my god, no. Okay, either way the Fiend returns, please.
No, they saved that for Mania.
Do we do the Undertaker after losing the streak bit where he doesn't show up until Mania? Orton just challenges the Void.
Yeah. And then we get similar to what not necessarily what Hardy did, but how he kind of pops in and then disappears and then pops in and then, like, you know what I mean? I feel like
Okay.
we're gonna get some kind of cinematic effect with it, and then the Fiend will just be like,
Okay, so I will be partially okay with this. If there's a few stipulations in place here, not to hold up on this much longer, but if I don't care what happens at Fastlane, if we don't see the Fiend till Mania, that's fine. But I don't want the same Fiend from before. I want this
different.
to be a whole, like, the mask can be very similar. I want it to look a lot more sadistic almost. I want it to, and I want this Fiend. I'm sorry, I know it's WrestleMania, but I almost want I almost want him to come out and beat Orton in like 90 seconds on Mania
Mm,
and solidify him. Um but yeah, that's basically the only way I'm going to be like absolutely okay with this build up.
yeah.
Um but I
Yeah,
don't
no,
know.
it has to blow off proper for sure.
And then the thing is they've got to keep it up after 2.
Mhm.
They really do. We can't have another Seth Rollins Fiend or even worse Goldberg Fiend
Yeah.
scenario.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
because if we do, then I'm fucking done.
Mhm.
I'm completely done.
Yeah.
But continuing down this card as we are very very short for time here.
Yep.
Uh, Asuka and Shayna
Actually,
Baszler.
we do have a question coming in. So, DJ, I have a question for Caleb, if I may. But first off, can I just say, Kami, your hat looks. I like your hat. It looks really good on you. Thank you very much. Caleb, they have a question for you.
Yeah, what's up? We're gonna keep running through the card. Though,
Yeah,
um,
exactly.
Asuka and Shayna Baszler have their match. It's really nothing that exciting. Asuka wins. They continue to brawl afterwards, and I don't know if it's a looming heel turn for Asuka. Um,
I'm not 100% sure if it would be a. It could be. It's very interesting. Uh,
uh,
all
I
right, wrestling intellectual, here you go.
that's just the gimmick name that I have. That's about it. That's about
Um,
it. Um, you got anything on that one, Blake? I know it was directed to me,
Hawking,
but
Hawking radiate. Okay, so the question we have are: what are your thoughts on recent findings on Hawking radiation, and what do you think it will impact professional wrestling moving forward? And what changes need to be made in order for it to still be a thing, if that makes sense? So, I don't know if
it's
you can quickly.
something about it's black body radiation. It's predicted to be released by black holes due to quantum effects.
Okay.
Um, how does it
Yeah.
affect professional wrestling? Well, you see, it affects professional wrestling by ending us all and making me not have to fucking watch Raw and SmackDown anymore. That's how it affects professional wrestling.
I don't
Um,
know. Yeah, that's an interesting question.
that's what I get for giving myself a gimmick name, right? Um,
Oh, that's
anyways, though, so yeah, like I said, I'm not sure if they're trying to turn Asuka heel here, or like obviously she's going for revenge, but it seems
yeah, the way she was about to literally destroy Shayna's
Shayna,
face,
yeah,
destroy her.
took the
And
turnbuckle off, tried to get her teeth with the exposed turnbuckle. It was interesting.
yeah,
And then we move on. We have Mustafa Ali backstage trying to hype up Retribution, and then Riddle zooms by on his stallion, his scooter,
yeah.
and I was like, okay.
Um,
Brilliant response. Take care. You too. Thanks for tuning in there. But yeah, then we get Riddle and Mustafa Ali for the U.S. title. Um, and it's a decent match. I wanted more from it. I really did.
I mean, I thought WWE was just gonna be like, lol, I'm gonna have what's it called? We're gonna just give Mustafa the title.
Yeah. Well,
Oh, and thank you for the follow there, DJ. That's
oh,
very
thank you.
appreciated.
Yes. But yeah, Riddle wins, and that's about it. He just kind of takes off right afterwards because of Retribution, and I was like, really? Is that all we're getting?
It seems like it.
Okay. We have Orton being interviewed backstage, asked about Bliss's challenge, and he basically accepts. She made the comment of kicking her out of his life, and he says he intends to do just that. And I'm like, okay. It's my most anticipated match on the card so far.
If it doesn't finish with a punt to Alexa's head, this was a waste of double entendre.
He punts Evil Orton, lights go out, lights come back on, and it's Bliss in the ring. It almost like kills her illusion.
Oh, and her face is all like blood coming down from her
Like
nose.
she's
Whatever.
messed up, but it was like an illusion that like that's what I'm saying. I want this nuts
That
out
would be
there
really good.
bullshit, man.
Yeah,
So
that would be really, really good.
and then we have Drew McIntyre come out and cut another promo. Cause
He
that
hasn't
was
been on
necessary.
TV. more than when he lost the title.
Yep. Yep.
Or when he was even champion.
Yep. Anyways, he comes out, basically cuts a promo. I'm going to win all my matches. And
I'm
then
the best person in the world. I'm going to win all of them.
yeah, and then we get Lashley and Sheamus. They have a match. Lashley wins.
Yeah.
And then Drew's getting in the ring. Bobby puts the hurt lock on Sheamus, and then Drew hits the Claymore on Bobby, and we close the show. And I was like, that sucked.
Yeah.
I don't know why I expect more from them, but here we are.
Yeah. It was.
Yeah, man. Rating. What did you give it out of
I gave
5?
it 2.5 out of 5.
Give it a 2.5.
Yeah. It was. I mean, it's not a horrible, like. There have been worse shows.
Oh, that's very true. I gave it a 2.5 as well. So, but anyways, our Twitter polls before I forget. For Raw, 33.3% thought it was a good show, 16.7 did not enjoy the show, and 50% of the votes are sitting on the fence. So I mean, if that doesn't say anything, I don't know what does.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I don't know if I'm wrong in saying that, but
No, you're really not. Like, yeah.
so, um, but
Match of the night?
yeah, sorry, we'll move on here.
Just figure might as well instead of just harping on what the show was.
Yeah, that's fair.
Uh,
What'd you give?
the tag title match, because
I gave it to Riddle and Ali because it was. I
I
don't
just
have. Sorry.
I just didn't expect a title change. So I was like, well, that's always neat.
Yeah, I gave it to Riddle and Ali because even though the match wasn't much, even though I wanted more, I like both as performers.
Yeah,
And so I gave it to them.
exactly.
um, your segment of the night, it's got to be Braun and Shane, right?
Not when Alexa Bliss is on the show.
Yeah, I gave it to the Alexa Randy stuff, as well as I gave it to Asuka starting to get violent because I feel like it is the shift she needs. I'm tired of the happy-go-lucky dancing around Asuka. I want the Empress of Tomorrow. I want the woman who went undefeated and she gave up her title on one brand because nobody could beat her.
Yeah,
So, anyways,
yeah.
performer of the night?
The New Day.
Gave it to Riddle and Ollie. um, I'll give a side note here, not necessarily performer of the night, but props. Not that it was much of anything, but Bad Bunny finally getting a shot taken on him. I hope we get more if we're leading up to a match, though.
I mean, he definitely needs to do a lot more if that's going to be the case. Like,
But I'll give him props. I'll give him props. He got in the ring. He took a shot with a guitar that didn't explode. And I mean, I know how solid a guitar can be if he actually got hit pretty decently. And there was a thud off the guitar. So,
yeah.
um, hey Blake, what is your worst of the night from Raw?
It's the women's tag title and world title, I guess you want to call it that, all intertwining together really, really, really messily for no fucking reason.
Your worst of the night doesn't pertain to the one.
Oh, I definitely could give it to Strowman and Shane too, but I'm still so annoyed that the top women's title on Raw and the tag titles have to be intertwined almost all the time. If not, the tag titles are intertwined with SmackDowns, which Nia Jax has a title match this week.
Plus the title match on Sunday between Sasha and Belair against Shayna and Nia for the title. Yeah, oh god. Oh no. Oh no.
Oh, it's not looking good for
Uh
Raw.
yeah, my worst of the night was Shane and Braun. I
That's
hated
fair.
every minute of it. The only part that I liked was the fact that Raw cut in as Braun was finishing his promo. um
That's mean, but fair.
I have no interest. Shane comes in a few weeks before Mania, gets chucked into some kind of random match with a stipulation so that way we can't see how bad he is at wrestling. And that's that. The only time that they really didn't chuck a stipulation at him was him and AJ because AJ carried the fucking match.
Yeah, and that's
Sorry,
a
not
testament to how
sorry.
good AJ is. No,
Yep.
I'm not sorry at all. Fuck him.
So, but yeah, any quick predictions going forward
I
for
do have a
anything?
long-term one, but it more pertains to AEW, so
Go
we can.
ahead. We're coming up on it. So shoot it.
Okay. So this one is very, very long-term. I'm talking like possibly into 2022. Okay? So, we've talked about how we don't you don't think Cody's ever going to win the AEW World's Championship, right?
Correct.
I think there is a way for them to book it. And it all pertains around everything that Cody has done from start to finish in AEW. So, the first time he challenges for the world title, he immediately says, if I lose, it's fine, whatever. And that's because the champion finally comes out. Whoever it is, not saying it's Kenny, not saying it's anybody, whoever the world champion is, comes out, says to Cody, you only did that because you know there was going to be guys like me. You know you couldn't get it done against guys like me for the title. Now you're humming and hawing. I'm not done here. I'm not done here. We still Cody comes out and he goes, "What are we doing here, man? Like I'm not going to challenge for the world title. If you want a match, I'll give you a match." They end up having this crazy match. It's steel cage, whatever you want to call it. It's crazy match. Cody wins. The champion gets annoyed, comes out on the mic, and he says, Cody, if the title's on the line, there's nothing that can beat me. Cody comes out and says, no, I already beat you. I'm not going to challenge for the world title. Months moves on, champion moves on to a different feud, Cody moves on to a different feud. Hell, even the champion could lose the title and move on and come back and then gets the title again. Whenever that comes back, they circle back around to Cody and he calls him out again and says, there is no chance if it's for the title, you can beat me. The only way is if you're booking it just like your father. And then it's Tony Khan that gets pissed off with it and says, Cody, I know you don't want the world title match, but no matter what, this is going to finish at Revolution, for instance, whatever the pay-per-view is coming up. And you guys will be in a insert stipulation match here for the world title, and Cody will be annoyed the entire time saying he
Trying to
doesn't want
fight
it.
Tony Khan, being like,
Yep,
this is my stipulation. Why are you trying to
yep,
change it on me? TK just being like, this is what's happening. TK
yes.
takes all the heat and Cody wins the title.
But Cody wins the title, does not even touch it
He walks
until
out.
the fans the next night are screaming at him, you deserve it, you deserve it. That's when he grabs the title. Tell me what's wrong with that.
Cody winning the title.
Does that story not work, though? I thought of that on my walk to work yesterday.
My only issue where I still stem is it goes back to our previous argument about it and about how it could happen, and I made the comment of they put the heat on somebody else instead of Cody, which I mean, yeah, sure, it would work. It would give Cody the world title. I just, in my opinion, they stick with it. He doesn't need a world title. He's made himself
That's
the
fair.
performer he is. And if they stick with it, it's going to give them more credibility than not, because any way they do it, like, it's not a bad story. If they were to do it, I'd watch it. I'd be entertained. I'm not saying I wouldn't be. Not saying one bit I wouldn't be. Not saying I wouldn't be entertained one bit if Cody won the world title.
Yeah.
My only issue is the only way they can do it is to push the blame. Everybody knows that. And so if that's the storyline they go with and they have TK do it, it doesn't matter who booked it. It could have been Tony Khan legitimately backstage who went like, Cody, I want to put the world title on you. It could be Cody in all reality backstage going, TK, I don't want it.
Yeah.
But the thing is it's just going to be that very evident, like, it's going to put um almost and not by everybody, not by everything, but for those ones that have been watching since the beginning, that want to see them hold true to stuff like, being sports centric, this and that, holding to their word, all that shit. It's gonna put that bit of a sour taste going, they turned around and booked it anyways.
But my thing is I'm not saying they're gonna do this immediately. I'm not saying like this could be literally 10 years away. Like I'm just saying that is how they will book it if they ever do decide to book it. It's going to be very long term, last over a year of the booking for the match to be finally for the title. And I don't see I don't see Cody's career finishing without the AEW World Championship. I can't in any capacity see it.
This might kind of make me a bit of a hypocrite after what I just said, but I'm in my head right now very quickly trying to be like, how is the absolute only way I'm okay with this? Like, what would be the only way I could potentially look at this and go, you know what? Fine. Like, wholeheartedly 100%. And even in my head, I was like, Jericho wins the belt again. He's legitimately going off to retire, and they do something there or something like that. But I'm like, even then, I can't do it.
Mhm.
I think the only way, just going off of what we've seen before, and because I think the story would just pull at me enough on every level, would be if they somehow, and like you said, like, this isn't gonna necessarily be next month, next year, whatever, Dustin wins the world title.
Yeah, and that's why I didn't specify who the world champion was.
I think Dustin wins the world title. I don't know the build, I don't know any of it, but I think what it comes down to is they somehow pull it around to the title versus career stipulation. And I think the storyline, excuse me, is going to do just enough. I think they can even pull it around to the first pay-per-view, the first Double or Nothing, even if they have to have the heel face scenario in some way, shape, or form. I think I hate it. I hate it. I don't want it to happen. But if it's Cody and Dustin, if they're both okay with it, I think we can make it work. I think it can tug at the fans enough to go and be like, push Cody to the extent of, I mean, at Double or Nothing, we had the Dustin being like, I'm Dusty's favorite and shit like that, right? I think
I was just
something
about to say,
similar to that, or like, Cody, you're just afraid, um, you've always been in this shadow, and we both love our dad, but you will never be the best Rhodes in the family, or just you've got to give that punch in the gut to make everybody go, you know what? Give Cody the title. Because I like your idea. And if that's the route they went, and instead of doing the whole back and forth or you can't beat me or this and that, replace it with Dustin and make it a family scenario. Like I said, I'm
Yeah.
not a fan of it, especially with Dusty being gone. But I think if it can punch the fans in the gut enough and make absolutely almost every fan that's watched since the first Double or Nothing, since Cody making that statement and going, I will never challenge, and losing, I think if it can make every fan go, you know what, I want to see Cody win, end Dustin's career, and win a world title, I'd be okay with it. I think that is the only way I will ever sit and go, yes, I'm cool with it.
That's fine.
Long
I'm
shot, but
either way. I'm cool with it either way.
I'm gonna hold them to their word.
I don't see why it's looked at as bad for someone to book themselves in the world title picture if it makes sense for storyline.
the only reason is because of the past, because of people who have been wrestlers and bookers. I'm not saying Dusty. There was others who were wrestlers and bookers that booked themselves in the world title because they wanted to be world champion because of ego, and it did nothing for the business. Thing is, no, they're really, if it works, there's nothing wrong with it. I have no issue with it. My only thing is we have this now, and AEW from the beginning, like I said, they've been like, we're sports centric, we're fan centric, we're this that, we're gonna hold to our promises and our this and that. So I'm gonna hold them to it. You know, it's just, it is what it is. You don't build your brand and say all these things, make these big stipulations, these big rules, all this, and then turn around and go, oh, but he wants to finish his career with a title. No, if that's the case, you don't make that stipulation, you don't book it that way, and you just give us the world title on Cody at some point. But we've had it, we're here now.
Like I said, I understand where you're coming from, but as far as things go, that promise is so minimal compared to anything else they've ever promised to do. Like, to me, booking your world champion, it should be somebody deserving. And on the card, Cody is up there with the top 10 people who deserve a world title.
Well, I'm
Like,
not saying he doesn't deserve it. I'm not saying it's not about deservability. But the thing is that's the same deal. Then just don't book that stipulation. And I don't care where that stipulation is in
yeah.
terms of things. You made it. That'd be like when the Bucks put the stipulation on their match with FTR and whatnot. If they would have lost, I in no way, shape, or form, I don't care how it was more minuscule than Cody's. It was kind of thrown on there last minute where Cody's had a
So,
build up to it, but I wouldn't have let the Bucks get away with it. I wouldn't have let the Bucks win the title without bitching about it.
okay, so then does the next time Kenny goes to win the title, does he have to put that stipulation on as well?
Well,
Because he's an
no.
EVP.
No, none of them had to put the stipulation on the line, but they did. That's my point. I'm not saying anybody has to even put the stipulation. It's the fact that the stipulation was put for Cody and the stipulation was put for the Bucks. The Bucks won, which means that stipulation is null and void. Also due to the fact of it was this big build up with FTR, who was going to be the better team, blah 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 blah, which I didn't like the stipulation anyways. Um and then Cody's was the same way. The thing is I just, like I said, you don't want to back yourself into a corner. Potentially 5-10 years down the line, you want to put these titles on these people. Don't book the stipulation now. Pro wrestling has been around for ages. We've got millions of different ways to book a storyline. Don't book it the one way that's going to back you into a corner 5-10 years from now.
Yeah, but that's exactly what they did. And I don't see Cody's career ending without the AEW World Championship.
Then they shouldn't have booked it that way. That's my only thing. I don't
I'm not disagreeing with you, but I'm just saying there's only certain ways they can book themselves out of it, and I think you and I both thought of one.
yeah. But the thing is, like I said, that is a very, very and I'm still, like I said, that will be a way I'm okay with it, but I'm still gonna be pissed that they found a way out of it.
I'm not saying I'll be happy that they went
So,
back on the stipulation. I just think that they are going to at some point.
well, I mean that's where I've got an issue, but I mean we've talked about that before, anyways. So if we got nothing more to add, we will wrap up here.
Yeah.
You got anything else to say, my guy?
Um, no, just give us a follow on Twitter if you're not already, and tweet us out if you see any wrestling news. Anything that you think would be interesting for us to cover in our news segments. It makes them flow a bit easier and makes it so that way you guys actually see some news that you want us to see us cover. So, just give us a follow on our Twitter and check out all the other links in the link tree as well.
Yep, yeah, you can find all that through the link tree, all the ways to listen, ways to support us, socials, all that stuff. But yeah, with that being said, we will not be having the stream on Thursday again this week, due to circumstances. Things are weird for some reason, the last few weeks. So we will keep everybody posted on Twitter as for when the next stream will be. So do keep an eye out there. But until then, thank you everybody for watching and listening, and we will see you on the next edition of Walking the Ropes.
Yeah,
Take
we'll see you
care.
then.